so actually nothing on there, just a prop. Okay, I am, for those who don't know me, my name's William Forkingham, as opposed to William Patrick Forkingham, down the back corner. Guru, hello. No heckling, please. It's not my wedding, it's Nick's, so just try and support him through this. Now, I guess the first question on everyone's lips, or the ladies' lips, is he single? Remarkably, yes. Just shoot the applications down the front, ladies, I'll assess them later. Could be good. Now, obviously he's been through some housekeeping. I also have some housekeeping to do. Apparently, on Google it says you've got to compliment the ladies. So, Olivia, Sophie, ridiculous. It's stupid how good you girls look. Unfortunately, both knocked me back, so I'm not going to give them too many compliments. It's a waste of time. Now, I've actually known Nicholas Vincent Auditore since we were 12, so that's 15 long years. Couldn't tell from this, could you? Looking very good. This is actually in year 7 at St V's, and the funny thing was when I met Nick, he was about 12, he looked about 7 years old. Quite ironic, after spending a few nights in Taipei, he's 27 and looks 34. So. But Nick was actually the small skinny kid who just would not shut up. He was very annoying. I remember meeting him and thinking, God, he's an idiot. And he was actually selling photos from his locker at school that he'd stolen from the Herald Sun where his dad was working. So I guess not much has changed. Now he's actually stealing ideas from human ASICs and developing K-Swiss shoes. So, Nick and I actually, we struggled through high school. We didn't know each other too well until senior school, and then at that point we started going to some parties together. And if anyone remember those sort of parties growing up, it's where you sort of go along with your 6-pack of VB. You sort of sit out the back, and Nick and I were the two blokes who never picked up. So that's how we got to know each other, just sitting out the back, just talking to each other. But, to be honest, I've actually been there for the majority of Nick's key moments in his life. I was there the time that he was kicked out of the pub, first time he was slapped by a girl, first time he was driven home by the police, and I was actually there the night he met Alice. It's actually quite funny, they all happened on the same night. So. But all in all, it seems I've known Nick forever, and to be honest, I really, I can't remember my life without him, and he's just brought so much to my life, and I've had such a great time knowing him. It's just been an absolute party every single time I hung out with him. It's been seriously amazing. But for those who don't know, I've actually known Alice a whole lot longer. I knew Alice since she was about 4 years old, so we grew up together. Wasn't into me, apparently. But I guess technically, having known Alice for this period of time, I could have been the matron of honour. And unfortunately, I didn't have the chest for the job, but I think we all agree that Sophie looks great. I think there's probably an expectation I'm going to come up here and dish the dirt on Nico and tell you guys everything about him when we were growing up. Unfortunately, all of those incidents involve me, and being a single guy, I'm not going to dish the dirt in case it affects my chances later on with any of the ladies out there. I'm keeping it all just here. But having said that, I can actually describe Nick's whole career as a bachelor in one word. Unsuccessful. Pretty much until he met Alice, it was a dry run, I'll be honest. I think that's always destined to happen when you only have 2 ways to pick up a girl. The first being singing karaoke. Doesn't always work. And the second, for those who don't know, Nick worked at a pizza shop for a long period of time making pizzas. His pickup line was, "Hey love, do you want a capricciosa?" But I think there's a point when every best man or every best mate realises that he's lost his best friend to a woman, and I remember it vividly. It was way back. I think it was the summer of 2000. I think I had a ponytail. It's looking okay. And Nick and I decided to make a trip to New Zealand, and thank you to all the family who supported us through that trip. Not forgotten. Thank you so much. And Nick had only just met Alice before we left on this trip, and when we headed over there, it was Nick and I had these big plans every summer that we were going to take a trip. Remember one year we went fruit picking, it lasted 1 day. Another year we went to Glenelg where we thought we'd work at Magic Mountain. Apparently they weren't hiring, so that lasted a week. But on this occasion, we actually booked the ticket, the return flight, so we had to stay in New Zealand, and we were travelling around, and we got to Rotorua, which is one of my favourite places in the whole world. The only place in the world where you can pay $15 at a backpackers and actually get a spa included. So value for money. And we were there, and we were sitting in the spa, Nicholas and I, and it was, let's be honest, there was me, Nicholas, and two red-hot Canadians in the spa. We were going drink for drink, and I thought, this could be on here. This could really be on. Next thing I know, Nicholas goes, I've got to go to the toilet. I was a little bit suspect at that point, because I've been in spas with Nicholas plenty of times before. He'd never been to the toilet, trust me. So he's left, and he's jumped out of the spa, and he's headed off, and I'm trying to do the work of two men, which is okay. I've done that before. And after about 10 minutes, Jimmy, after about 10 minutes, I thought I'd better check where Nick is, aka we've run out of beer. So I've headed inside, headed into the kitchen. I'd overheard someone, through the kitchen in the reception saying, I really miss you, I really care about you, and that wasn't so special. I'd heard Nick say that to girls plenty of times when he was drunk. And to be honest, when he gets really drunk, he says it to me, so I didn't think much of it. But I actually think he meant it, and I think he genuinely meant it, and he'd actually broken into the reception of this backpackers to call Alice back in Australia to tell him that he was missing her. And I thought, well, we can look at this two ways, Billy boy. We can say we've lost a friend, or we can say there's two Canadians in the spa, and there's one me. Listen, I mean, people will probably ask, what impact has Alice had on Nick? Well, before Alice, Nick was loud, offensive, he drank too much, he stayed out too late, sang way too much karaoke. Big difference is, now he's got a beautiful girl next to him while he does it. Page 3, just in case you're keeping up, playing at home. Now, traditionally, the best man gives some marriage advice. A little hard in my situation, considering I've never been so lucky with the ladies. So I've actually had to do some research on this. I asked around, I asked my dad, didn't give me much to be honest. I asked a good friend of mine, Mike Allison, he gave me even less. So I had to come up with my own ideas on what I thought would be successful to Nick and Alice's marriage. And I thought the first thing that Nick could do would be to make more money. That's not going to hurt. Alice is expensive. Second thing is get the hell out of Taipei. Seriously, why would you be there? And the only other way this marriage will last is if Nick dumps me as a friend, because I'll always lead him astray.
Stay in Taipei. Good option too.
But in all honesty, I think this is, said some gags, they were funny, we agree, but let's move on. Nick and Al are just an absolutely amazing couple, and I feel privileged to have been there from the start and to have seen them just grow and develop, and I've just had such a good time with them. They've been so good to me as a couple, and it's absolutely amazing, and I think that no one understands Nick like Alice. Nick would probably be alone without Alice, to be honest. He's a very unique individual, but they just totally get each other. They just totally understand each other, and they just connect, and they're perfect together. They just make sense. So I'd like just for everybody just to say to Nick and Al, you guys make sense, and we just love you.
Well done, Billy boy.